I'm going to edit this out. We have an amazing guest today who is, really awesome. She's been part of the Black Carnivore community since the beginning. So I actually don't know if everybody knows the story, but, I named myself Black Carnivore because I was eating carnivore, but I didn't know if there was anybody else who looked like me who was doing it. So, I named myself that so that anybody else who was having the same question and Google Black Carnivore will find me. So over time, I started to find more and more. And so in June of 2020, I decided to, I really wanted to try to gather together the people who were sort of part of my circle and have an actual Zoom so that we can actually talk to each other and look each other face to face. And so that was when I first met Rose, and it was, it was really amazing. And I just remember that first call being so just bowled over by seeing all of these black and brown faces who do carnivore. So it was just, there is no other, I've never had another experience that compares. It was just really just a wonderful moment. And I'm happy to try to create that platform in that place so that everyone else out there who is trying to do this will be able to have that same amazing experience. So anyway, that's how I met Rose, and let's dive in. Rose, tell us about yourself. I know that you are Pacific Northwest, you work out like an amazing teen, you have a ripped body, and you love carnivore, so tell us.
All right. Hi, Ede. Thank you for the opportunity to come and visit with you today. And you're right. It was when you were doing the groundbreaking work, connecting all of us black and brown and golden faces together. And I've been on my journey actually since I was 3.5. So that sounds like a long time, but it's really not in our lifetime. So I grew up in an abusive environment, and as a result of that, I started overeating compulsively and just really, really weird things. And by the time I delivered my child at 20, my weight had topped out at 300 pounds, and I'm 6 feet tall. So it is what it is. It kind of stayed. I did the yo-yo dieting thing on and on and on, the roller coaster, the calorie logging, and the whole nine. But underneath all of that, I did a lot of self-help with like Phil Donahue, Oprah, reading books compulsively, but I never could figure out this eating thing. And it really ate at my soul that I was smart and accelerated in so many areas other than this weight obsession and exercise obsession. So that leads me up to 2018. I had slowly started gaining weight, and the way I had maintained a 100-pound weight loss prior to that was like compulsively writing things down, but I was still binging all those years binging. And then it just kind of came to a head with the hormones. And it was actually my daughter who was selling some ketogenic supplements, and I wanted to support her business, that I got introduced to the keto diet. But I was at my rock bottom, my running career, as I like to call it, my pastime, running away from home, doing all these things. I couldn't function at the level that I had for years previous to that. And God clearly told me that I needed to slow my roll and figure my life out.
Wait, you said you were running away from home, or do you mean that figured
Yeah,
out?
I mean, literally, I say running away from home because anytime that a person, in my opinion, anytime that a person, does everything under the sun other than sit with themselves, be still, be in your home, I was doing everything other than addressing what problems that I had.
You mean in yourself, inside you,
Yes.
in your heart, in
Yes.
your head. That's your
Yes.
home. Right.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Yes. So I was doing all these other distracting behaviors other than really kind of getting to the core of what was eating me, even though I had all the tools and help. But depression has always plagued me, and I knew what worked and what didn't work. And so with that being said, 2018, my daughter was probably maybe 28 years old, 29 years old. She already 30 years old. I don't know, but she already had a set of twins, and I just didn't know if I could get back up a day. We had a mortgage, and it is what it is. But by September of 2018, God told me to slow my roll, figure it out, or I would spend the next 7 years trying to get to retirement in a deep, dark depression. So I made the transition, discovered keto through the supplements, taking the
So wait, what was the
supplements.
transition? I mean, are you saying that you were told to leave your job,
Yeah,
eat
yeah, yeah.
differently, completely
Yes,
change your life? Wow.
yes, yes. So, I don't know if you believe in a higher power, but I always think that people do believe in something outside of them, even if they don't know what it is. They really do believe in something, be it the universe or their next door neighbor or their dog. They do believe in something, right? So, with that, I made preparations to leave my career and transition into life coaching. What I didn't know is that my groundwork was just beginning. So although on December 2nd, 2018, I said, hey, I'm going to do intermittent fasting and the keto diet, I had so much to learn. I had so much to learn. And then I rolled into straight on carnivore, I think 2020 all the way through to 2021 because I was being triggered a lot with packaged foods. I didn't know what packaged foods, the chemicals, the bliss points, and all that stuff. So I learned a lot. I learned about what worked for me and what didn't. And meat and
So
beef
wait,
are
I'm
definitely
sorry, just to
my jam.
understand. So back in
Yeah.
2018, were you at your highest weight of 300 pounds then, or had you already lost some weight?
I had lost weight back in 2002 up until about 2011, 12 by compulsively writing stuff down and over exercising. The weight creep started getting in there, and then by
So
20,
I'm sorry. So then by 2011, you reached like what you would consider your goal weight, or were you still carrying some?
2011, I was doing okay, but I started creeping up,
Okay.
a few pounds here, and I would justify it. And then as time went on with hormones, life changes, stressors, and whatnot, by the time I got to 2018, I was back to, I think it was 238.6. And so that's a lot of weight for me to, after having lost all that weight and stuff. So that was a lot. So 2018 was my rock bottom at 238-ish, somewhere up in there. And so I worked backwards from there and lost weight. So when I started trying to lose weight in December, that's the point that I was at, if that makes sense. But I was still being triggered on keto. I didn't understand packaged foods, the drug industry or the food industry and the stuff that they put in there.
It is a
And
drug
then
industry.
and then I actually found out that I've known all along that I was addicted to food. I was an emotional eater, but the sugar capacity, I thought I could justify it by having an off day, binging for a whole day, and then getting back to what I considered normal. It never happened. One day of binging led to 5 days of binging. The self doubt, the defeat, and so I did that from December 2018 all the way through 2019 before I said, Rose, you really need to buckle down and get this
So
ish
you were sort of
right.
flip-flopping between keto some days and then binging on sugar the others, and then
Hmm.
days or weeks to get back into ketosis, and then
Hmm.
going a few days.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah,
The
that's fun.
self-defeating purpose.
I did that
And,
too.
and the funny thing is I knew how to get all the sugars out. I knew I could fast for 48 hours, yada, yada, yada. But I go, that's not the point. This isn't where God led you, right? And so 2020, I kind of buckled down and just said, we're only going to do meat. We're going to do carnivore. But I was still taking days off. Oh, it's somebody's birthday, oh, this, oh, that. But it just took too long to get back in. And August 20th of 2020 was my last binge because I finally understood that I cannot have certain foods, that I have to abstain. Otherwise, it's just a rotating cycle. So that's where I'm at now. And I'm down to like 160-ish, about 165. So
Excellent. Oh my
thank
God.
you. Thank you. And I don't
And
restrict. I don't restrict. I just eat one meal a day. And that's worked for me
yeah.
for a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah.
And what kind of food do you eat?
I would say, so the year that I did carnivore, I did do where I would order beef from a local farmer. I mean, it's across the mountains, but they did that. So I did that. I love ribeye. I love ground beef. As a matter of fact, ground beef is in my refrigerator continually. I keep it scrambled in 1 pound servings and stuff like that. I eat eggs, sour cream, just the whole night. Any meat is good meat, but I don't like lean meat. And pork is not my jam unless it's bacon. So I eat everything under the sun as far as meat in general. Yeah. Yeah. And then this year, A-Day, I did start incorporating vegetables back. So I'm on that keto carnivore scale. So I started incorporating those back in, 1 week I would focus on broccoli. The next week I would add green beans and stuff like that. So I'm back on that slant. I had to be I was probably paranoid because I didn't want to have issues. I didn't want to be sent down a road that I couldn't turn back around. But because I was very, I just want to say I did it very methodically. So it worked for me. I had a lot of control. I kept the fat in. I don't use butter and milk and stuff like that, so that wasn't an issue. But I just did it very step by step, and it worked. It worked. Yeah.
So how often would you say you incorporate vegetables now?
So I have vegetables every day now. So I have like bell pepper here and there, or like today I think I have string beans. So yeah, so my palate is about 80% meat, and then the other 10% is vegetables. If you break it down like that. Yeah.
80 or 90. You said 80 and 10. What's the other 10?
Eggs. The eggs.
Oh,
so
I see.
Eggs. I have eggs about every day, about at least 3 eggs a day.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Do you think that you would have been able to, break the control that like processed foods and sugars had on you without going all the way carnivore, or where did carnivore sort of fit in your healing process?
Well, carnivore fit in when I realized through education and just understanding that I am not built like anybody else on the planet. I can't fit in with whatever the mainstream is. And so I have to heal internally. Internally meaning mentally, physically, and emotionally, but also food is something that we have to live with. We have to eat in order to live, right? So why not pare it down all the way down and identify what my triggers are? So carnivore played probably along with the education and me just becoming aware and being, how do you say, surrendering to the fact. It probably played 50 to 60% in me healing overall. And I didn't have all of those chemicals going through my brain and whatnot influencing my decision, and having that second voice saying, you can have more, you can have more. So it really did play a role in my healing overall, holistically. And if there's ever a time where I do feel as though I'm slipping, or I want to have more, something that I don't feel as though I should have, then I would go back into the carnivore for about 5 to 7 days to get myself back on track.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you feel that all vegetables are fine, or do any give you any kind of reaction, or
Oh my
where
gosh.
is your the boundaries of your vegetable consumption?
Well, if I can be very honest here, if a vegetable makes me fart, burp, it's off the table. I'm not doing it. So cabbage is one of those, and greens is one of those. There's just certain vegetables I won't touch. I don't have to be told twice. This doesn't agree with my system. So I'm very like, no, very simple. Yeah.
So in the process of that methodical testing, like the things you were looking for were digestive discomfort. What other signs were you looking for that would indicate that it didn't work for you?
Basically, if I was bloated. So like lettuce, I wouldn't say, so salad mix, that was one of the things. Salad mix and tomatoes and cucumbers, just having a generic salad like that. And then I would just do the greens by itself, with a little bit of hot sauce and see if that worked. Then I would add in the lettuce and tomatoes. Tomatoes isn't one of my favorite ones just because of the distress and the bloating and whatnot. So that's, yeah.
Okay. So which ones don't cause you distress and bloating? Is it the simple salad with the cucumber, lettuce, and
Yes.
lettuce? But
And
the
some hot
tomatoes
sauce.
do a problem. Okay. All right.
Just really, really simple. Yeah.
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 That's
Almost
as simple as you
boring,
can
to be
get.
quite honest. Almost
Yeah.
boring. But there's
Yeah.
so much freedom in knowing what works, right? And what
Yeah.
doesn't. You're not even tempted, like, not today, Satan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you think about it, people say that we're probably, as carnivore, keto-ish people, whatever they want to say, is that we're being very restrictive. And I go, no, we're honoring what works for us because we've been down
Yeah.
that road so many times that there's actual freedom in knowing what we can eat and what we can abstain from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I don't know why people say that. I think there's freedom
yeah.
in being able to spend the day not farting, not burping, not having upset stomach, like not going to the bathroom. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
freedom.
You know what was funny? I hate to say this, but we have a dog, right? She's almost 9 years old. And
Hmm.
so we were doing something down here and something didn't agree with me. And I was just like Putin for a couple of hours. And I was hoping my husband wouldn't say anything because I said, I'm blaming it on Pumpkin. I was like, ooh, do you know what she just did? I'd be playing it off, girl. But, just blowing it up
Yeah.
like, what's going on? Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm not willing to go through that distress anymore.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And I wonder if well, so, I kind of have a list of like, I don't know, about 17, 18 things that I see commonly change when people, sort of transition into carnivore and things that tend to improve. And
Yes.
so I kind of, when I'm, trying something different or I'm paying attention to what I eat, I'm sort of running through those things in my head, looking for, any changes. Because I know, like for me, asthma, eczema, and allergies was my
Yeah.
thing, right? So I
Yes.
would expect there to be, some discomfort there if I ate something that was a problem. And it's interesting, cheese used to upset my stomach before I went keto, but then it stopped doing that. And then later I realized it was causing all the asthma and difficulty breathing, but it wasn't, in normal quantities, it wasn't a problem for me to eat it. So I wonder if there were other things, other symptoms or signs that you were kind of, paying attention to as well, or looking for when you were testing those foods.
Well, quite honestly, I had my gallbladder removed probably about 20 something years ago. And, kind of since then, my digestive tract hasn't been right. So I'm one of those people that have issues with constipation, quite honestly. But going carnivore, pairing everything out, that kind of helped that situation, if you know what I'm saying,
Hmm.
constipation and stuff. And then the first thing that I look for to know if a food is tolerable or intolerable for me is if my mental focus is a little off. If I like see things that are glittering and I just kind of want to go after everything under the sun. No, no, seriously, because if you throw pretty glitter up in the air, I want to do everything. Or like projects, you want to take on 20 projects when you know you can only commit to two, that kind of thing. So if my mind gets hijacked, that's the first thing that I say that food doesn't work for me. So that first and foremost, and constipation, those are things that I look for.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mental clarity, I think when we, get older is something that we need to focus more on. And if I think about food too much or think about what I just ate too much or my mind is clouded, it's not going to work for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the two main areas.
That's awesome. So it's amazing how like meticulous and organized you are about this, because a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I want to try and incorporate some things," and so they have
Yeah.
like pepperoni cheese pizza, and it's like, "Oh, no, there's no way to figure out
Oh.
what's, there's just way too many things in there."
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And you know what scares me about that is too, is because I've acknowledged that I'm a food addict and I know where it can lead. So you wouldn't give someone who's an alcoholic, and I toyed with that for a couple of years too. I didn't go into full-blown alcoholism, but I was a weekend binger, if you understand what I'm saying. And I made the distinct decision that I couldn't go down that road because I was in corrections for one, and another is okay, I'll always have food. So I had to cut ties there. And I always talk to people about I mean, we have one addiction, but it's multiple outlets. And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that until the last couple of years. Yeah. And the
Yeah,
same thing
mine
with
have been
food
floating
choices.
around too. Like I totally get what you're saying.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Hmm. The
So
same
go
thing
ahead.
with the same thing with food choices. It's like pairing. You know, some people like to go to the club and have, a shot of whiskey and have a cigarette, and that's the only time that they touch that. And then a couple of months later, they go and have that shot of whiskey, but they don't have the cigarette, but their mind is thinking about the cigarette. And then they eventually go ahead and have it with the whiskey. So my thing is food pairings. There's certain pairings like cheese. I can never have cheese in my house. If I buy a pack of cheese, this is the way I do it. If I buy a pack of cheese, all the slices must be eaten at my meal at that time because there's no reason for me. There's no reason for me to call it what it is. I do pairings with the cheese, right? You'll eventually want crackers with the cheese. You'll eventually want cheese and eggs. You'll eventually want. So let's not go there. So certain foods and pairings, I don't do too well. So I just leave them alone. But you get what
Okay.
I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like part French or something.
Well, cheese does not work, and it does have constipation effects on me too. So there's no need.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty common.
Mhm.
So, I actually want to switch focus now. So
Sure,
I've
sure.
seen your pictures, and I mean, I could see you. You're like ripped. So when did you like get all into this fitness stuff?
So here's the deal, and full disclosure, that was another reason why I went carnivore to move the scale a little bit more. So I've always worked out since I was about 20 years old because of the therapeutic effects on my depression. I kind of made the connection that if I work out, I'll have a better attitude and feel better. The weight didn't go anywhere, right? So that's always been in my backstory that I've worked out for mental health purposes. But as far as lifting, I've always lifted like yada yada here and there. And when I was younger and a little bit leaner, that was the reason why I was doing it for aesthetics. So now I want to compete in the future. So my focus really is on continuing to build lean muscle mass and a little bit less cardio, right? So I leaned out on carnivore. It moved the scale. I have to look back. I should have gotten the stats outlined for you, but it moved the scale. So that was very intentional. Whereas the ketovore aspect and the binging and purging it, not purging, I should take that back, but the compulsive eating wasn't getting me where I needed to go. So I did lean out a lot, and I have DEXA scans that I can share with you at a later date if you want to know. But yeah, so it helped me to lean out, and I'm as lean as I'll probably be right now. And I love to lift about 4 hours, 5 hours a week. And I plan to be one of the divas that are on stage at 54, 55, handling business, sporting the shirt that meat does heal. Meat and barbells go hand in hand. Yeah,
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Well, so how much? So that's interesting because some people struggle to lose weight as quickly as they want to on carnivore. So,
Mhm.
what do you think you were doing differently that allowed for that to happen?
Well, I had a
Well, you've referenced your age. I don't know if you mind sharing it because I mean, there's definitely. I just turned 50, so I'm very proud now to be in the
yes,
club. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm 54. I'm 50. No, I'll be 54. I had to think about that. Sorry. I'll be 54 in September.
Okay.
And when people say that they're not moving the scale or they're not losing weight the way they need to with carnivore, whatever it is, I have to go back to, you have to know what your story is, what's your body doing. It has to heal internally before it will start showing up on the outside, but they have to stay the course. If they choose to be carnivore, stick with it, because there's so many things that are happening that they're not aware of, right? And if they never had an athletic background or they don't like to work out, there's no need for them to start when they just need to focus on the carnivore diet and the benefits. The benefits are going to show up long term. Kind of like weightlifting. You don't get that really zest and that definition right here and now, but 3 months, you'll see some definition, right? Whereas the cardio, you feel better and maybe it'll show up sooner than the lean muscle mass. So it's the same thing. Just, I would say, take the focus off of weight loss, because you can be losing a hell of a lot of fat and just be sharp as a tack, but don't worry about the weight loss. It's going to show up when your body's ready for it to show up, and don't manipulate it. Don't manipulate it.
Yeah. And so have you always done OMAD, or how did that come about?
So this is the deal here. So I had to figure out what would work for me. I started on a pretty generic 12-12 with the intermittent fasting, and then I was like, oh, I can move it up to 15, 15, whatever, 15-9. And then because I was still doing half marathons at the time, and I really didn't understand about fat adaptation in its fullest, I really pushed myself to the limits. And then I was like, well, if I can do 13 miles and not have to refuel, why can't I just go 1 meal a day? And I'm a volume eater. And I go, let's just get down to business. So I just flipped it probably 6 months in and committed to it. Yeah.
Well,
so
how much
it works.
volume do you eat?
I could probably eat between 2.5 pounds of meat in one sitting with no problem. And the eggs on the side and a little bit of vegetables. But see, that's what people have to understand. You have to understand what works for you. I tried the 6-hour window, and this is what I did today. I tried the 6-hour window, but I started with a portion that was probably appropriate, a couple of eggs, avocado, and 6 slices of bacon. But my mind was continually, well, you're going to have that for lunch. Why not have it now? You're going to have that for dinner. Why not have it now? So my focus wasn't there, if that makes sense. I was still thinking about the food. I tried the 2 meals a day with no snacks. It didn't work. And then I finally paired it. Let's just go for it. 1 meal a day. And I just go for it. And it works. It works. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But it takes testing. I don't know which way my hair is going, but it takes testing. And just knowing that I'm a volume eater, it works for me. Yeah.
So that's just a lot to eat in one setting. How long does your meal take?
It depends on what I'm eating. So anywhere from 60 to maybe 70 minutes. And now that summer's here, I'm actually moving to a morning eating window. My normal time frame is about 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, but I'm moving it up to 10 o'clock. To see if I can get more of a fat loss,
Okay.
It's but I'm not changing the amount of food. I'm just changing the time from midday, afternoon to a morning window.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah. So I'll let you know if that works in about 4 to 6 weeks when I go back in for testing. Yeah.
Wait, you're getting a DEXA scan again?
Yeah, I typically get it every 6 to 8 weeks, because where I'm at right now, for myself, so where I'm at for myself is I need to know what's going to work, what's going to push the needle. I don't know if I shared with you, my goal this year was actually to be on stage this year. But the personal trainer...
Actually, I don't really know what any of that means, and I would imagine a lot of people listening don't know what that means. So let's get the full background here. What does that mean to be on stage?
So I love being in the limelight. I love being on TV. I love being everywhere. So regardless of my weight, I just love media, right? So I decided with this weight loss and my age and as a part of my career that I'm flipping over is that I want to be on stage in a bodybuilding contest. So I sought out a coach and hired her for 6 months to help me to get on stage this fall of 2021. But I committed to the process and I told her how I eat and that it's not going to change. And, she had some reservations about me only eating meat, yada, 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 because she cut out a whole food group, whatever. But we explored that before I hired her, so I didn't think it would come back up again. And then we had a call this past January or February, and something just clicked. Rose, she's white, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. So please don't throw daggers at me, people. She's white. She's been through it. She's raising her family. She counts calories. She lives in another world. I thought we were connected enough. That's why I sought her out. But the red flags started coming up when she said the only way that you're going to be able to lose weight is if you start counting calories. That's a red flag number one. I don't do calorie counting. And she's right, I've already cut out a whole macro group. And so what more do I need to do? I'm not going to over exercise. I'll lift heavier, so I had to go through this, and I did like a 45-minute conversation with my audience about it. I didn't want to be pushed the other way, to be anorexic. And the part that made me just sign off completely is I said, well, how much weight do you think I need to lose? She had been lying to me really for 4 months. Oh, just 5 pounds. I can do 5 pounds a day. But she's talking now 145. My frame is not going to be 145.
For
I am
someone
black.
who's 6 feet tall?
Yes, I am black.
Wow.
I have an asset. I have this going on, and I'm not about to look emaciated and go the other way. So I had to dial that back and say, okay, it's a dream that's going to be deferred but not denied. So now
and so this was a coach who was helping you to prepare to compete
for bodybuilding. I had selected the class of bikini, because I could technically have more body fat. Girl, this is bothering me. I could technically have more body fat on my body with bikini, so I sought that particular look. And then when she was saying, it was coming out, she was doing the calculator, and I was like, you know what, this isn't gonna work. So, mind you, I had paid, so I was just like, let me just cut the ties and kind of slowly drift into the woodworks, and just told her that I had a life circumstance change, keep the advance, and I'm good. But what I really needed was somebody who looked like me, who understood me, and body-wise, girl, you got an asset. Let's do something to accentuate what you already have, not to lose it and fit in mainstream. So now I'm doing a certification program so I can better understand the body and strength training. So when I do go hire a coach who looks like you and me, I'll be ahead of the game. And so able to lead other women down this path.
Do you need a coach? Do you not think? I mean, I don't know anything about how people go about competing in these sorts of contests, but can you not coach yourself and get yourself there?
Well, I can definitely coach myself. The answer to that is yes, but they will be able to show me things by me never having competed, and expose me to things and point me to resources that I will never have found on my own, or I'll be spending hours online. Kind of like when people come to you for coaching and guidance or specificity, that's what I'm going to them for. Or they might need to change my workout variation just a little bit. Do 2 a days, skip 2 days, do 2 a days, skip 2 days, whatever it is. So they'll be able to guide me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for you. I think that is such an interesting thing to do, and I'm definitely, everyone who is watching this will be seeing your before and afters and those amazing pictures that you posted. Yeah, because that is like such a big deal, and I think so many of us have the idea, or at least I do, that like 50s is just, it's just all downhill from here. And it doesn't have to be. Like, you're showing us that, it could be still on your way uphill. Like, you strong and in great shape for years to come.
Yes, for the rest of our lives, hopefully. I think I remember hearing you say something about that on the podcast, or your YouTube channel that you want to, flow the way you're flowing and better until you're 100. Was that right? You said 100, or was it
That's the plan.
25? Yeah, yeah, that's
So I'm
right.
officially middle-aged now.
Yeah, yeah, and you're rocking it, girl.
Yeah, I have an
Yes,
uncle who's intending on going until 350. So he's like, I don't
yes,
understand why you're playing it small. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay,
Well,
okay.
see, this is the thing. This is the thing. So I didn't understand, like with carnivore, going full carnivore, and have to say that I wasn't 100% carnivore. I was like 98% carnivore because I always drank black coffee. That's in my paradigm of self care and whatnot. But going and how it helps our insulin level, how it really helps us to naturally feel better, the aches and pains, the inflammation and stuff. So I'm like, oh my gosh, there's just so much more to this. I feel better doing this than I did at 35, taking vitamins and overworking myself, yada yada yada. So that's the fountain of youth right there, a carnivore diet. The
Yeah,
fountain of youth. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely.
I kind of get off on these little splurts before they.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, but that's precisely the point. And actually, I wanted to go back to what you were talking about in terms of your training. Like,
Hmm.
I think, I think that there are some, some pretty distinct differences in terms of how, maybe black women versus,
Hmm.
other women approach weight loss and health
Yeah.
improvements and stuff. And so, I really like to, hold space for, the thing that I like is that, we don't necessarily restrict in the same way. And I think that that is helpful. I mean, that has actually protected us from certain types of problems that I see people coming to carnivore with. Because all those years of really restricting, does a lot to your body. We might have more of the diabetes and the metabolic disorder, but not of the other stuff. And so, coming in and then trying to be restrictive, I think is really difficult. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm older now, but I don't want to do things that are hard and mean, to my body. Like I want to do things that are growth opportunities, but I don't
Yeah.
want to do things that are just sort of beating myself down. And I feel like a lot of times I see these challenges and, the 75 hard and other stuff like that, where it's just sort of beating your body into submission. And at this point, I don't see over, decades, I don't see a benefit to it. There might be a short term movement in the right direction, but then there's a rebound so far in the other direction that end up worse than where you started. And so I watch these things and I'm just kind of like, I don't want to do that. Like I don't know how we can celebrate and encourage each other to take growth opportunities without being just overwhelmingly hard on each other.
Well, so this is my take on it. So, like I said, I love being in the limelight regardless of my weight. So that wasn't an issue. And people will always probably tell us that we as women, black women, tend to flaunt or show or tell the world who we are in a different way than our other counterparts, right? But there's a little bit of disservice in that also, and denial. So, it's kind of like take a seat and get real. So, yes, we do have more pounds on us. Yes, it's been that way for generations and generations. Yes, we look good in the clothes that we put on and feel good. But the reality is that sometimes we hide behind that and we're not really willing to face that we have to step it up just a little bit, not beat ourselves up, but we have to step it up a little bit and have responsibility that the way we're looking and the way we're rolling today does have an impact when we turn 45, 50, and 60. You're going to have those breakdowns mentally, emotionally, and physically. So why not flaunt it and take care of yourself the way you're doing and realize that you can still have it all, but you don't have to beat yourself up. But there is some responsibility on your part for your health, right? Yeah. So, and then I think what you're saying that people do get intimidated, I think that's intimidated because they don't want to change or they're scared about what their families may say or how society may receive them. I think they have to go inside and just kind of figure out what's going to work for them and be committed to that with the support of a community like you have. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So,
Yeah.
do you have something, do you coach or how do
Oh yeah, girl.
you tell me about your audience and your community and where can people find you? You love
Okay.
media, so where can they find you?
Okay. So long story short, I thought I could pivot into when I quit my career. I thought I could pivot, just go to this coaching school and get my certification, and then just do coaching and whatnot. But God was like, no, you still have work to do. So it took me 2 years. So I was on a sabbatical from 2019 to just this year, basically a sabbatical of learning and applying, right? So now what I do is I work with clients one-on-one in half-hour increments for 12-week commitments at a time. But I'm rolling out Ketoish Girls blueprint to breaking free in 30 days. So what it is that I'm teaching the clients in a group setting, everything that I've learned, everything that we were talking about here today. And I'm just giving them snippets, fat adaptation, what's the difference between low carb, carnivore, ketoish, the whole nine. I'm taking them on a journey, right? So every day is a different topic. And then on Sundays, we have live group coaching calls, which I think people can learn better from their peers at times than they can from a coach who's already been there, done that. I think they listen and learn in a different way. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm rolling out, and I'm excited about it. So it's 30 days. They can find me on Facebook. Facebook is my total jam. I tried Instagram, and I was like, okay, it's just not going to work for me because I get overstimulated. So Facebook is a better platform.
That's
for
funny.
me
That's how I
personally.
feel about Facebook. It's just there's all this stuff coming at me, and I don't know. I guess I must have accepted the wrong friend request because now I get at least 3 marriage proposals a day from somebody in Lagos or the Philippines or Taiwan, and I cannot get it to end. So
Because you're a beautiful woman, beautiful soul.
there's lots
Look
of
at you.
beautiful people on Facebook. Not everybody is getting flooded with these bots, or I don't know, or whoever these people are.
I
So,
got
but yeah, okay. So, and so that's how people can connect with you on Facebook, your Rose Codes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice,
Yes.
nice.
Or just
So-
Google me. Yeah, totally. And so what I want to express is that I live, lead, and teach a low insulin lifestyle. That's the basic premise, that regardless of what protocol or what nutritional choices you make, the question should be always, how is this going to impact my insulin levels right here and right now? That's the basic gist of it all, even though I teach it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome. And so where can people follow your I don't know, like your journey to like the stage? Are you like, do you record your workouts, or how do people know what you're doing? Do you post your workouts?
I don't post my workouts at this time because they're just general workouts. I just do general workouts. So once I have,
what do you do? Like for people,
you really want to
people
know?
who, well, I don't know. I mean, for people who are like into working out, they're like, well, what is she doing?
I
is she
lift
doing
all over. I do full body lifting. That means the pecs, the back, the triceps, biceps, shoulders. I do full body workouts. I do lower body. And my core, as far as my core, it's not really strong, so that'll be a focal point. But I'm doing body cavitation at this point. We could probably talk about that on something else. But I'm trying to get
body
a core.
what? Cavitation, you said?
Girl,
What that is.
okay, Ede, I'm telling you, I am gonna be one of the baddest people on the block. And I used to always think that I had to have a seat at that person's table in order to succeed. But I flipped it and said, no, I'm building my own table and doing the inviting, and I will succeed regardless, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I got so distracted. But anyway, so once I actually pick a show date in 2022, what I'll do is I'll start changing it up. But I do full body lifting. I have a gym here at the house. I have a spin bike, a treadmill, and a rower. I just bought a rower, and I do full body lifting. I use Planet Fitness now just for variation if I need to go a little heavier and stuff. So if we ever get shut down again, I have everything I need here. But
Nice.
once I pick a show date, I'll start coming on and giving some instruction about what I'm doing and give updates in that capacity. But right now, no, it's just general lifting, self-care, and whatnot.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I looked at you. I mean, I'm like, you're not ready? Like, why can't you go next week? Like, what more do you have to do?
My core. So can I talk about body cavitation?
Sure. Can you explain? Can you please explain what that means? I
Okay.
don't know.
So long story short, because we all have areas of our body that you may have noticed that you're holding on to more fat, or it's a little thicker than what you would probably want it to be, right? If you had your perfect ideal of a perfect body, right? So all of my fat stores are in my core. So everywhere else I can work pretty well. They're coming out and yada, yada, yada. But my core A-Day, the 4-pack is not even trying to show through. So I considered liposuction. And I hate to say this, but I was going to decide by my birthday if I was going to have it or not. I'm terrified of surgery. I've done all the nutritional protocol that I possibly can and training, but I didn't want to make that big leap. And plus, it's a cash situation, right? So through my daughter exploring and her young people, they know all the stuff. I discovered body cavitation. So what it is, it's this system. You can look up a body cavitation machine. Do you have access to internet or your phone right now?
Yeah.
Body cavitation. So what it is, it's a device. You use like ultrasonic gel, and you kind of like do like if you go in and you're pregnant and they're doing an ultrasound with the gel and the wand. So it's pretty much the same thing. Liposuction will, get rid of all your fat cells. They'll get rid of it. The only way they'll return is if you have a poor regimen and yada, yada, yada. This right here, it empties your fat cells in the area that you're focused on, right? And it empties it through your lymphatic system. So that means you pee, you poop, and you sweat it out, right? And so it's emptying those cells. The fat cells are still there. And you lose inches. It's not for weight loss. It's for inch loss. So you need to be within 10 to 15 pounds of what you perceive as your ideal fit range or your ideal long-term body range. And my 4-pack is showing through. I do this body cavitation every 3 days, and I'm going to start working on my inner thigh area. Because no matter what I do, there's areas.
This is like,
yeah,
magic.
There's areas.
Where did this come from?
Well, it's been around for like 8 or 10 years. And I have to say, now look, girl, I was going to go in and do patient in service. It would probably cost me about $13,000 to do this, even though it's non-invasive.
Too. Like,
no, this isn't surgery. This method isn't surgery.
Right, I'm saying the $13,000 would be like money.
No,
surgery.
for this. For what we're talking about, the body cavitation, it would be the same because it's per treatment. So my ab area would probably take 15 treatments. My inner thigh, it's measured by how many times you're going in to get the results that you want. Am I making sense? So I bought the
Oh, so this
machine.
one that I just Googled for $69 is not,
It's not the
that's not
one.
it.
Not the one. You want to do a body
I was
cavitation
thinking, well, gee,
machine?
like, that's
No,
all it takes, let me order one right
no,
now on Amazon and I'll
no.
get started tonight.
No, they range. A good one ranges somewhere between 499 and up to 1,000, right? So I got the
Oh,
lower end
okay.
one. I bought it from somewhere that I thought was in Texas, but truthfully, they all come from China unless you go on eBay. They all come from China. So when you see those dates, you get it in 4 weeks. That they literally mean that. Yeah. So I will send you the link to the one that I use. But yeah, yeah. So once I get
I
that
don't know
situated.
about these things. Like I sort of checked out of listening to them years ago, and
Mhm,
like these different like things, and so
mhm.
I don't know. Like, but I keep hearing people talking about waist trainers, and so I
Yeah,
finally was like, let me look at this because people are talking about it constantly, and I'm
yeah.
like, this is a corset. Like, why didn't I? Thought, I mean, we got fainting couches and stuff from the Victorian days, like, and now people want to wear this while working out when
Right,
you most need
right,
air. But
right.
I was
And
like, it's so popular, like, is it, maybe it's working, I don't know. So I ordered one. It came today, and we'll
oh,
see.
did
Yeah.
you? So what is your so one thing that I want to caution, if you don't mind me just cautioning you and your audience, is that waist trainers, depending on your movement, will constrict your movement
Yeah.
into into an unnatural form. So if you're lifting, if you're cycling, if you're stepping, if you're doing something that's straight and you don't have to bend and flex your body, you're probably fine. But if you're
Yeah.
doing something that requires a lot of twisting, throwing, rowing, no, no, no,
Yeah, yes, of
no.
course. Like, I don't see how
Yeah,
this can work in
yeah,
any. But I think that whenever I see people wearing them, it's like they're on the elliptical. It's not like they're playing
right.
tennis or doing
No,
things
I
with
just wanted to give that
those
heads up
lateral
because some
movement.
people
Yeah,
just won't take the time to research it and they think it's okay and it's not.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know. I'm gonna try it, but like I think it's just a corset, and it's gonna be uncomfortable, and then I don't know. I don't know what's supposed to happen, but I thought I'd give it a try. But like I kind of gave these things up because back when I was in my 20s, somebody had told me I should get one of those those plastic suits, the pants and the top to exercise. So I was like, okay, I guess if I sweat
Yeah,
more, I
yeah,
lose
yeah,
more weight.
yeah.
So I
Or
would wear
sit
the
in the
pants.
sauna.
Yeah. Well, I didn't sit in the sauna. I would just wear the
Okay,
pants, the
okay,
outfit. But
okay.
because I don't think I always went to a gym that had a sauna, and but I would wear the pants all the time, and I would put like sweatpants over it and stuff, and then I would go on the treadmill and stuff. But one day I guess I was trying to lose more weight. I don't know what I was doing, and I decided to wear the top too. But I never normally wore the top. And so I
Oh
was
my God.
walking maybe 5 minutes on the machine, and I just was
No,
so overcome with heat,
no.
and I couldn't even lift my arms up. Like, even if I wanted to take the shirt off, like, I couldn't because I was so overcome. And I was like, oh my God, I'm about to die of heat stroke. And I just grabbed onto it and I just tore it off my body. And as soon as the cool, yeah, as soon as the cool air hit my skin, I was like already feeling better. And I was like, oh my God. I'm such an idiot. So that day, I tore it off. I threw it in the garbage. I took the pants off, threw those in the garbage, and I was like, I'm done with these contraptions. This is not.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But every now and then, I'll see an older couple like walking in the park wearing these plastic suits, top and bottom, and I'm like, I don't understand how you do this.
They
I had
are
it on for
bold.
like not even 5 minutes, and it was like a deadly situation.
It was hell on earth.
Yeah. Yes, literally.
Yes. And then what happens is you're sweating it all out of your system, but the second you take a drink of water, you're putting it back in anyway, right? So it
Yeah,
doesn't make
I'm not
sense. It defeats
sure
the
I
purpose.
understand what's supposed to be happening. Like,
Me
you know,
either.
I
But I
don't
was
know.
there with you. Silver
Yeah.
and gray. That was the color. Yeah, I was
Oh,
with
mine
you.
was black and purple.
Uh-oh, hey, a little
Yeah.
flavor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But but because I checked out, like there are like new things that I don't know about. So like this body cavitation. A couple of years ago, my cousin sent me a text. You want to get cool sculpting, or and I was like, I had no idea what she was talking about, and I was like, is she talking about ice cream? I don't like ice cream, so I just never responded to the text.
Oh man! Oh.
But I come to find out it's like freezing fat cells, and it's cheaper than liposuction. I don't know, but I was like, no, not for me. So I don't know.
Right on. At least you know what works for you, and you're still trying to try a new gadget here or there. But I would be excited to hear about your waist trainer and if it's going to get you the results you think that it is, or it's supposed to, or whatnot. Yeah.
I have no idea what to expect. I think it will. I mean, like a corset, it will push my ribs in. Whether that's a good thing, I don't know. I'm gonna guess.
But are you willing to be
not.
that uncomfortable? That reminds me of wearing heels and being so uncomfortable. But I'm cute, So
I mean, I tried for a long time to do those heels, those things, and heels were terrible. Just like never worked for me. But one time, I'll tell this story. I had a suit that I used to that I liked to wear, and I had been gaining weight, and this was in a period where I was gaining weight. So I had a suit that was, it was too small, clearly, and but I had like a kind of Spanx like girdle sort of thing that if I wore that, I could get into the suit. And so I wore it and I went to work and I was sitting there and becoming more and more dizzy and lightheaded. And I realized like I just couldn't breathe, that the Spanx thing I had was too tight and the suit was just too small. Like there was no way to get there. And I couldn't really go home at that point and I just felt awful. But I couldn't take it off because I couldn't fit in the suit at all without the thing on. So finally, I sat in my office, closed the door, I took off the girdle and the bottoms of the suit and opened up the jacket and just sat there and sort of hidden behind my desk. But I couldn't get up at all, because I
girl.
And then at the end of the day, to have to pull all of this back on so I could go home.
Oh my goodness.
Remember, I take the subway, so, there were stairs and subway involved. It was a nightmare. And I was like, I got back, I threw the suit and the girdle out, and that was the end of that.
I bet you said never again. Never again. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. Yeah.
I mean, other people, I think, are better at using these kinds of devices, but for me, it's just like, it's just one disaster after another.
Well, let's hope that your waist trainer works in the way that you want it to and gets you the results. But I want to hear from you and your results on that. I'm curious because I might have to go down that road too. Yeah.
I think you look amazing. So whatever you choose to do, like in my opinion, have hit a pinnacle and you are goals. So
thank you. Yeah. So by September, I'll let you know if I have a date and what my training regimen will be stepped up and the trainer that I hire, or like you said, I might just get myself all the way there and then just hire them the last 3 or 4 months. So we'll see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's awesome. Mm-hmm.
And also, if someone is interested in joining me on this new quest for this challenge, can I offer them 50 off? It's FIFTYOFF of whatever they choose to do as a promotion, all capital letters.
Wait, what's the challenge?
So it's the Ketoish Girls Blueprint, the 30 days.
Gotcha.
So I'll be rolling that out starting July 1st. So I didn't say that earlier, but yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So everyone should look for you on Facebook. That's your social media home. Yeah. Are you on YouTube as well, or?
Girl, it's one of those sprinkle things. I was trying to do too much. I said, girl, shut it down and focus. So I'm just focused on the program and my one-on-one clients right now. But I do have a channel.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
But they should come to your Facebook and your Facebook group.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like to share? I know we touched on a lot of things, but I'm not sure we got everything.
So essentially, if someone is trying to move the needle, make progress with weight loss, there's going to be multiple attempts that they have to make, right? So through every attempt, just don't give up. Take with you what worked from whatever you tried before and apply what worked and keep trying and keep trying. And definitely follow Ade and her lead because she's so educational, supportive, and she has an open platform. So there's no reason not to get the support and guidance that you need. And a lot of times we use excuses that it's too expensive. Well, it's going to be expensive as far as healthcare, your mental health, and your emotional health in years to come. So you might as well slow your roll and figure it out now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
that,
this has been a wonderful conversation. I have really, really enjoyed getting to know your story. And, you always fascinated me. I dip in and out and check out your posts and stuff. So I am so glad I got to hear all of this. And I think it's really cool that you're competing. I don't know. I see the women who are in these, these contests, and I think,
mhm.
wow, that's dedication and hard work and commitment, and it's really impressive. So I'm very, very proud of you, and you're going to be like Ernestine Shepherd, just like
Exactly. She's my role model.
yes, yeah. Just killing it
Yes.
all the way every year, just doing amazing. And yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
she really is amazing, and we share the same birthday. Um,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So I think, I mean, I got to step up my game clearly, but that is that
yeah.
is something that is making me think. I like we. If I want to achieve that 100, like clearly,
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
change. I have to make some changes. So I have
Yeah.
actually been starting to really step up my game. And when I was losing, I actually was doing heavy lifting. That was what I
Mhm.
did. I found that cardio. Well, okay, this is going to be really lame, but I just didn't want to get super sweaty and mess up my hair. So yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
weightlifting, I got sweaty and winded, but not in the same way, and it wasn't a whole huge mess. And I just sort of enjoyed the activity. It was kind of fun. Um, but then I realized that I was still getting fit in terms of my cardiovascular ability, and I used to like there was a kickboxing. Well, no, I guess it was it was an all a kickboxing but boxing course that I was taking. And in the beginning, they would start with like 3 minutes of jumping rope. And so when I first started going, it was like I could get like three. I would get the rope around 3 times, and then I'd trip,
Yeah.
and then I'd be out of breath. Like after 1 minute, I'm like, oh my god, this is the longest I've ever gone. And then I didn't go back for like 3 or 4 months, but I was lifting that whole time. And I came
Yeah.
back and I didn't think anything of it. I just assumed it was going to be all the same. And so we start, jumping rope, and I'm going, I'm going, I'm going. And then he's like 3 minutes, okay. And I was like, I didn't mess up once. I went that whole
Right
three
on.
minutes.
Right
I'm not even
on.
winded. I didn't even think about it. And I was like, what happened? Like, I
Right.
haven't done cardio at all in 3 months. But it was like, clearly I got a lot fitter, just from
Mhm.
lifting weights. So I was like, okay, so,
Uh, So
I don't know.
are you still lifting now?
Oh no no. So I did it a lot during my weight loss, and then I ran for public office. I ran for city council. So
Yeah.
yeah, I did that twice in 2013 and then again in 2017.
Mhm.
So I didn't have time to lift at all, and then but during it I was doing door knocking, and and I like to say, I mean, I literally knocked on 10,000 doors that summer, or spoke to 10,000 people. And in Brooklyn, none of the buildings are, they're all walk ups. So
Okay.
walked up. I have hit so many buildings in a night, and most of the buildings, there's 4 separate staircases to take
Yes.
you to different parts of the building, inexplicably. So it's like you have to walk 16 flights of stairs to hit all the flights in one building.
So you were
So,
working out.
yeah. So that's the kind of physical activity I was doing where like I'm up and going up and down stairs for several hours every day. So that's, so that's what I did, and I wasn't lifting at all. And then later, and I didn't win, unfortunately, and then later in the year, I started to get sick and sicker and sicker, and so I was dealing with that illness, and then I finally got better, and then, by then, like, I don't know, I just didn't get back into it. So there was such a long break, and different things were going on in my life, and then, my mom got sick, and, and there was a lot to do to take care of her. So I never ended up going back to the gym, and I would always say, oh, I'm going to work out at home, but, I never did. So, and then, now I do need to figure out how to work out at home, and, I'm not going to have, like, a big, heavy machine to do, well, not machine, but like, just a barbell with the plates and stuff to actually do, the kind of lifting that I was doing before. Like, I enjoy doing the deadlift, but I'm going to have to do that, with kettlebells and kind of hope for the best. Yeah.
Well, definitely kettlebells is weight, so it's just a little different configuration, but you can totally do it. So this is what I want to ask you. If you ever want to take that leap and do something, I'd love to connect with you and get those muscles to popping, girl.
Well,
I would
yes,
love
I am
to be
ready,
your
so
accountability partner. Yes, I mean,
Well,
I
let's do
honestly,
it.
I'm saying that, on this live, but I genuinely mean that. I genuinely mean that.
Yeah.
I can hold you accountable. You can hold me accountable, whatever you want to say and do. You could totally do it with kettlebells and dumbbells. Why
Yeah.
not? Why
Well,
not?
I will take you up on that because,
Yeah.
I mean, now that we're in coaching, we see what,
Yeah.
how important accountability is and how meaningful that
Mhm.
is. So,
Mhm.
and everybody needs one. So, so that would be really helpful. Now, when I was
Okay.
doing deadlifts, I got up to, I think, like 130 pounds.
Oh,
But
girl, you go.
yeah, yeah. But I
You
don't, I
go.
don't see how I could replicate that, at home.
Do you want to know how much I deadlift?
How
Honestly,
much?
take a guess. Guess.
I don't know.
I want you to guess. You have to guess before I actually tell you.
I mean, I would assume like 175, 180.
No. I deadlift anywhere between 30 and 60 pounds, depending on how I feel. I write out my workouts when I go in. I don't lift heavy, heavy. There's a lot of variety, but I don't lift heavy, heavy. I only
Why is
bench,
that?
I only bench 75 pounds. Are you
So
feeling
I
me,
used
girl?
to, yeah.
Because you can get results with whatever equipment you have. You don't have to go heavy unless you choose to go heavy. That's the God honest truth. Because at Planet Fitness, their heaviest barbell is 60 pounds. Now I have a 100 weight capacity weight set and barbell, so that would probably be like 140 pounds total. But I only have my bench here set up for 75 pounds maximum to bench press. No lie.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't lift heavy. I lift for longevity. I lift for definition, but I don't lift heavy. And I'm
So
getting
lifting
results.
heavy can be a challenge for your joints. Is that correct?
It can be a challenge and it can change your physique in different ways, but that's not my cup of tea,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just sharing that with you to enlighten that with whatever you have, you can still make progress, whether you're in the gym or you just have a couple of pieces of equipment at home. You can make it work.
All right. Well, we're gonna connect. We're gonna have this conversation. 'Cause
Okay, okay.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
made you think, right? I made you
Yes.
think.
You did. I have
All
to
right.
say, I do love the kettlebell. So I would like to do more with that. It still terrifies me, the idea that I somehow lose the grip on it, and like
Yeah,
blow a hole through the house. But yeah, there you go. But
yeah. All
yeah,
right.
all right.
So, yes,
So
let's connect in the future then.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So
Right.
everybody watching and listening, thank you so much for staying and listening to this conversation. I think Rose is incredibly fascinating and exciting, and and just picking up I like to think that in our fifth decade, that's when we start all of these crazy new hobbies and ideas and projects and do things that are so different and wonderful, and allow the wonderful person that we are and have matured into to really shine. So I encourage all of you who are, you've got some ideas, thought that you couldn't do it or didn't have the courage to do it. Check out the wonderful, courageous women that we are, and get up and go ahead and do it. Definitely check out Rose and her community, and and follow her and all of that on Facebook. And I will see you all soon. Have a great one.
Thank you.